7. Barrett outside the switch. Doncic goes great step. And then he hammers it home. Broke his ankles.
What's going on, guys? Welcome into Clutch B-Ball TV. I hope you guys are having an amazing day or night. And today I'm going to further break down the Derrick Rose trade. But before we officially get into the video, I want to give a big shout out to Buzzer Beater and also Joshua Craig for supporting the channel. You guys are awesome members. You guys always slide through my live streams. You always leave positive feedback. I love your NBA takes. For example, Buzzer Beater, he always gives me tips for my channel, what I should improve on. And I don't take it as criticism. I think of it as like having an open mind. And there's always a way you can improve at your craft. And you're very knowledgeable Knicks fans. You guys are just freaking awesome. And thank you so much for supporting the channel. So no further ado, let's break down the Derrick Rose trade. As of course, we went on to trade Dennis Smith Jr., who's headed to the G League, and a second-round pick. Dennis Smith Jr. has been someone who's been disappointing in his NBA career and never really got the narrative how he was good in Dallas. He wasn't really a winning basketball player, I get it. He was very young when he was in Dallas. He's still young in his NBA career, but he was a guy that came out as a great athlete. He's a guy that came out being a great attacker of the basket, a guy that brought a lot to the table athleticism-wise. Of course, now he's the back injury, which is kind of holding him back from being his like 100% self because his game really relies on athleticism. He had a lot of upside due to getting to the basket, like really facilitating and just attacking the rim. But he's a guy also that didn't really truly know how to play the point guard position. Like, take a look at a Kira Lewis Jr., really speedy, athletic, like a lot of upside in that department, but he hasn't really truly known how to play the fundamental side of the point guard position yet, of making the right basketball play, just like giving it up when you have to, just not being very individual basketball players. Dennis Smith Jr. has been someone with a lot of upside, and yes, he did put up like 15 points per game at one point in Dallas, but it wasn't very efficient. It was on a lot of shots. He wasn't great at defense. Like, he didn't make the right plays. He needs to improve as a jump shooter. There's a lot there when it comes to like his hard work and dedication for the game, except he did have the narratives in middle school and high school that he was thinking about quitting basketball. So is he truly in love with the sport? Is he really fully engaged? As he did not work out while being in a New York Knicks uniform. The back injury really held him back. The jump shot was atrocious. We were getting hyped during like those workouts like during the summertime, but his jump shot really never improved from the charity striper downtown. His decision making was still awful. He just did not run the point guard position the proper way whatsoever. But to give him credit, he did get better on ball defense. But I don't know like if we should give him credit there, because like that was during the preseason. He was guarding guys like freaking like Dean Wade, who's an okay basketball player, but are you kidding me? Not like it's Colin Sexton, not like it's Darius Garland. He was clamping up. And of course, like I made that reaction video when we went on to trade for Derrick Rose. I wasn't that happy because I was like, don't tell me we gave up a first-round pick. But then I realized this isn't the same Knicks from like 4 or 5 years ago. The Knicks from 4 or 5 years ago would have gave up Mitchell Robinson and like a freaking first rounder. Yes, it's really possible that Dallas can become good again. They have Luka Doncic, they have Porzingis. Some people may not be high on Porzingis, but when you have a guy like Luka Doncic who's just an ultra type of competitor, makes everyone around him better, like he makes beautiful passes. People are just not executing from the corners of when he gets a defensive collapse and kick out. Missing a guy like Seth Curry was huge. Most likely they are going to beat the Timberwolves tonight because the Timberwolves are just like absolutely atrocious. They should win that game. I think the Timberwolves are like 6-17 or 6-15. They're atrocious. But anyway, like I was like, oh my gosh, please tell me we're not giving up a first round pick. And even if that Dallas pick isn't so high, you could still trade up in the draft or get some big time assets in like a trade during the offseason, you know, before the upcoming NBA season of 2021-22 season. But I was like, please tell me we're not giving up a first rounder. But it turns out it was actually the Willy Hernangomez pick, as when we traded Willy Hernangomez. Remember Johnny O'Bryant? We literally waived him on the same day. But that's going to be like 40-something. It's going to be up there towards the end of the second round. And yes, you can get valuable players in the second round. Like we ended up with a Mitchell Robinson. But you can make the case that Mitchell Robinson's a replaceable player. It's really rare when you come out there, like come out of the second round with a freaking star. Like you have to really just be lucky and really do your diligence of really scouting in that type of department for a very good job, like doing a good job in that department. But yeah, what did we give up? We pretty much did not give up a lot when it came to Derrick Rose. I get it, he's not his prime self anymore with the Chicago Bulls. He's not as athletic, and he's actually gotten worse finishing at the cup, and he's a less efficient basketball player, and he's getting older, and of course he's the injury concerns and everything like that. But he's actually improved himself when it comes to his outside shooting. Is he like a knockdown shooter from the outside? No, but he's an upgrade over Elfrid Payton. He's not the greatest defensively whatsoever. You could say the injuries have been the main reason why he's like really declined defensively, but that's always been a thing. I never thought he was like the greatest defensive player. He was in his prime, but he's gotten better as a playmaker as well, which you love to see. It seems like Elfrid Payton's locked in on one guy of Julius Randle, but if Derrick Rose starts, does that like ruin Julius Randle in a way of, yes, we hate on Elfrid Payton a lot, but who's the best player on this team right now? Julius Randle. Who gets him the ball the most? Elfrid Payton. So we'll see what Tom Thibodeau goes on to tell him. Guys like Johnny Bryant, Kenny Payne, was thinking of the player for a second. Like, we could hate on Elfrid Payton, but he feeds a down low to Julius Randle a lot. And of course, they played with each other in New Orleans, but how does Derrick Rose affect this team defensively? That is the main thing. I don't think this team's going to be absolutely atrocious defensively, because we had question marks about Julius Randle, and he's gotten better defensively, even though he is a young player, 26 years old. Derrick Rose pretty much is what he is. And Derrick Rose also brings a brand new element of, we can't just feed the ball to Julius Randle at the end of games, especially if a guy like RJ Barrett's not in the game, he doesn't have it that night, he's not on. You can't just feed it to Julius Randle. Derrick Rose is another guy. You can give the ball to him, he can get instant offense, he could still pull up from mid-range territory, he could still get very quality shots of creating separation. So RJ Barrett's still improving on that, like off the dribble, when it comes to his NBA arsenal, like at least from like getting to his spots. Like, you may see it there and there, like in certain games, but he can't do it on a consistent basis yet. Julius Randle's the best on the team when it comes to that. Quickly, he could do a solid job, but you never see him great from mid-range territory. He needs a screen. Derrick Rose doesn't always need a screen. He still has pretty good quickness of getting to the cup, and that's great towards the end of games. Like, you can't rely on Elfrid Payton to give you instant offense whatsoever. But now we're getting into, how does this affect the future? How does it affect an Emmanuel quickly? How does it affect the point guard position? Of course, we have Elfrid Payton, we have Frank Ntilikina, we have Derrick Rose, we have Quickly that could play the one, Austin Rivers. Like, we have some point guards on this roster. Jared Harper is in the G League, so are we going to move on from one of these point guards? Of course, we moved on from Dennis Smith Jr. We had to, because like, he wasn't working out here. He wanted to go to the G League anyway, and no shot at the Pistons, but the Pistons aren't a good basketball team, so they're kind of like a G League team over there. He's going to get a real opportunity. There's no Killian Hayes over there because he is injured. Sadly, he's a point guard I was really high on. He was not starting off like very strong, but he's a guy that was pretty raw entering the NBA. He played in a lower league compared to a guy like a Teo Maledon. But anyway, he's going to get an opportunity over there. But will Quickly get a true opportunity? Will he get that opportunity? Why did we bring in a Derrick Rose? Did we do it to make a playoff push? The Knicks mindset right now, the organization's like, we're tired of losing. Like, that's not the mindset anymore. We want to win at all costs. We want to build a culture here. Like, no way free agents want to come here when they know we're tanking for Zion. Like, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, they weren't coming here in the first place. But that's not an attractive destination of, like, there's no stability at the head coaching position. Like, David Fizdale didn't hold guys accountable. Yes, you could say he's nice, but he wasn't developing in anything. He wasn't, like, installing a winning culture. It was just, there was just nothing. Like, there was no stability when it came to a playbook or anything. It was just a big, just freaking mess when it came to the David Fizdale situation. He was absolutely atrocious as a head coach. Now we have a proven winner of a Tom Thibodeau. Yes, you could say he plays guys a lot of minutes, but he knows how to win basketball games. You could say his rotations are not good, but he's proven to win games with a below average roster or an average roster that is overachieving, and I believe they're the 8th seed at the moment. But anyway, how will Derrick Rose affect Emmanuel Quickly? Derrick Rose, a video came out how he was like, I'm ready to work my ass off. I'm ready to teach the young guys. In Detroit, he was actually the mentor of Killian Hayes. I'm not sure if he's the most vocal. There's some rumors that he's not the most vocal, but he's definitely a good lead by example guy. We know Emmanuel Quickly has the jump shot, but he definitely needs to get better going straight to the cup, not always using the floater in his arsenal. And Derrick Rose is a guy that's so good at getting to the cup. He could definitely teach Emmanuel Quickly a lot, and we know Quickly has a good head on his shoulders, and he's a straight up worker. We'll see what happens. Like, will Elfrid Payton start? Will Derrick Rose start? Will it be Quickly? Derrick Rose comes off the bench, Payne's at the end of the rotation. We don't know that yet. There is an NBA team out there that is interested in trading for Elfrid Payton. Of course, Elfrid Payton's terrible as a starter. I feel like he wouldn't be a bad role player somewhere else, a guy that can get rebounds, assists, and sometimes he can make the right play. He can be sloppy there and there, but he's actually a solid all-around basketball player when it comes to the bench, not being a starter in today's NBA, especially with a team like the New York Knicks. But will Derrick Rose start? Will Emmanuel Quickly start? Will Elfrid Payton start? And I think this is my mindset, or Tom Thibodeau's mindset. Like, he's a guy, of course, that doesn't play rookies a lot. He wants them to be ready. He's not going to throw Emmanuel Quickly into the fire, especially when we're winning games right now. Quickly's good in his role off the bench. Yes, you could say Payne's hurting the team, but we're somehow winning basketball games with this philosophy. If I told someone that we would be in the playoff hunt, they would say you're on something, Noah. You're on something. We are in the playoff hunt, though. That's the true reality of this season. And we're trying to build a winning culture. Yes, you could say we may go to the first round of the playoffs, get kicked out, and like experience is big, but it really doesn't mean anything if you're playing James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. In today's NBA, you need talent to be successful. Take a look at the Orlando Magic. They get kicked out of the 8th seed like a couple years in a row. They get experience, but if you're playing freaking Giannis Antetokounmpo, it does not matter whatsoever. You need talent in this league, but maybe it will attract future free agents to play here if we're building a winning culture. We're installing one, and I get it's an upcoming draft, but they're like, we never get a high lottery pick anyway, and we've proven to actually nail some good draft picks later in the draft, like a Mitchell Robinson, like an Emmanuel quickly. You never know if they do their due diligence and really scout the department, like the scouting department. The scouts are really good at that for the New York Knicks when it comes to later parts of the draft. Even Doesnt was a solid player for us, but he was a replaceable basketball player. But anyway, I think Tom Thibodeau thinks of it as like kind of a rookie quarterback. You know, he doesn't want to throw Emmanuel quickly into the fire. He doesn't want him to lose confidence right away. He wants him to learn as much as possible. And the positive is Derrick Rose is on a 1-year contract, so it's possible he's going to be gone after this year, and he probably wants to go to a championship contending team like a Clippers, like a Lakers, go on to win the first NBA championship of his career. He wants that feeling. And Elfrid Payton's also on a 1-year contract. And Derrick Rose said he's open to teaching the young guys, so that's perfect for a guy like Emmanuel quickly to absorb this knowledge, really just like for quickly to learn a lot and be ready for next season. I think that is the mentality Tom Thibodeau with quickly. I think he believes in him. He thinks he's a smart player. He thinks he works hard. But Thibodeau might be this like other side of him, be like, quickly's not a true point guard. I'm a traditionalist, and I like true point guards. He thinks of Payne as a true point guard. He doesn't know if quickly's a 1 or a 2, but his mindset is he's going to play who puts him in the best position to win basketball games and his own philosophy. We'll see what goes on to happen, but it's really possible Emmanuel quickly does not play a lot of minutes if Elfrid Payton and Derrick Rose are still on the team. But we have to see how the rotations really turn out, and we just got to trust the organization. We have to see what happens moving forward. I think next season's the big season for Emmanuel quickly starting. If he's not starting next season, there's no excuse. But a guy like Derrick Rose and Elfrid Payton might be gone unless we bring Derrick Rose back as a mentor, which would be cool off the bench. I would absolutely love that role for him. He knows Tom Thibodeau's philosophy as well. But it's gonna be Emmanuel quickly or another young guard, because Elfrid Payton and a guy of Derrick Rose will be gone. So it's going to be quickly or not another young guard, because Dennis Smith Jr. is gone. Frank Ntilikina is most likely going to be gone as well. But we'll see what happens. Quickly, he still finds a way to produce. He's a professional. He comes ready off the bench. I think they're really just trying to groom him to be the best he can next year. Just trying to really build a winning culture, get quickly that experience, and have him be like, I want to be here again. And then he's going to be as motivated as ever, learning from a former Hall of Famer, MVP, or former MVP of Derrick Rose. The only ways I see us really losing this trade is if Derrick Rose does not mesh with Julius Randle or RJ Barrett. He really takes on a big-time role, playing a lot of minutes, and that is just not good for Derrick Rose at this point in his NBA career. The last few years, he's carved out a very nice role of coming off the bench, and hopefully continues to come off the bench and bring that big-time spark offensively. And also, if a guy like Dennis Smith Jr. balls out, and he ends up reviving his career, and then we bring Derrick Rose back next offseason, and he ends up being our starting point guard, because that's showing we're not focusing on development. And if the mesh of RJ Barrett and Julius Randle and also Mitchell Robinson do not work out, that could also result in a loss of a trade. Let me know down below your thoughts and analysis. And as always, guys, have a humble day or night. Peace out, y'all.